Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to the Transfer View. Welcome back to United View. Smash a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We have got a whole host of things to talk about today because yesterday, Daniel Ashworth, because we got him now, hold that Newcastle, apparently he wants to raise £200 million in player sales. 200 million. And you know what? When you're going through the news this morning, you're looking at what's going on, what's hot off the press, etc., etc. Me and Owen both came to the agreement. Quite quiet, you know, the lit things bubbling away. Xerxes, we know where we're at with that, you know, etc., etc. But we went, the big push really is on outgoings. And then we saw, and we remembered, should I say, the piece on Dan Ashworth. And just, even if he didn't say that, in general, I think, as we saw from the full view when we did it the other day, and in general on social media, it's all about outgoings as well, which is very important this summer. We have to get outgoings right. So we were going to do a show on outgoings anyway, but it just so happens that there is a piece talking about Dan Ashworth with the 200 million in player sales. And Mason Greenwood exit seems to be fairly close. There's bids flying in for him, and he's making decisions all over the place of where he wants to go. Fulham wants Scott McTominay. We're going to talk about that as well. Harry Maguire, all of it, loads of it. So much to get into. Please do smash a like on the video. Where are we at for likes and viewers right now? We're over 600 watching. We've got 144 likes as well. So big up to you. Get your super chats in, get your members chats in, and get your subscriber chats as well. And Paul Mitchell, what has he gone to Newcastle now? Is he? Interesting.
I didn't see that. Possibly. I mean, they are looking for a new one, aren't they, Fleck? They are looking for a new one at the moment.
They need one.
I mean,
Hopefully
indeed.
Paul Mitchell isn't working somewhere else and they want to prize him away because, you know, then they have gardening leave, you know. But we'll see. Good for them. We got our man. They can have theirs. So there you go.
Yeah, good for them indeed. But I was watching yesterday. I was on my travels yesterday, Flex. Anything happen morning show wise? Anything? It was quite low key and calm.
Me and KG just routine
I heard
show.
It was very calm, very low key. He behaved himself a lot, you know.
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
He's just a normal show, mate.
Yeah.
No different to the show me and you do every morning.
That's what I heard. Good. I think continuity. I think the continuity is important.
If it wasn't for KG's voice, they would think that it was just me and you.
Good.
That was the only way they knew it was KG, was that his voice was there.
Yeah. On topic, lots of transfer news, lots of stories. You know, it was definitely that.
Yeah, and there was a lot of comments saying actually this was perfect. We had a good dose of, you know, information and having a laugh and you know, transfer news. It had all the ingredients that the morning show should have.
Good. Well, I'm glad for the continuity. I mean, I haven't watched it back and I haven't checked the comments, so I'm I won't bother now.
You don't need to. It was as normal as, like I said. It was basically like you were sitting there. Just different voice.
Yeah. Cool. Good.
I threw to him and I was like, KG, you know, we've got a report that. So KG, what
he read out the news.
He read out the news. Nubian Ferrer came through twice.
Oh, excellent.
He had a gong. And then
his own one. Cool.
Yeah, he read it. Obviously, his voice changed into the thing that you have because he's got that on his soundboard. So it was all good, man.
Excellent. Well, I'm really glad.
The community can vouch as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing other words there, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. They probably just try to wind you up.
Yeah, probably. Can't believe everything you read. Anyway, Flex. Sales, player sales. You wanted to talk about it. We've got player sales for you. A report from the Mirror from David McDonnell is talking about Dan Ashworth. Now, actually, aside from this, there have already been reports to suggest that Dan Ashworth has been at Carrington. He's met with everyone. He's met with some of the, obviously, the staff that are working there. Of course, there was all the talk yesterday about staff redundancies, which I'm sure we'll talk about in just a bit. But David McDonnell is saying, with sporting director Dan Ashworth having already started in his new role, Manchester United can start to reshape their squad ahead of the new season. United were already working on targets before a compensation package was agreed with Newcastle for Ashworth. But with Ashworth working with immediate effect, United can step up their planned squad overhaul with Erik ten Hag and his players back in for pre-season training next week. Comes around very fast, doesn't it, Flex? In terms of really outgoings, United will in effect listen to offers for most of their squad, with the exception of the following players: Andre Onana, Diogo Dalot, Lissandro Martinez, Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund and Amad Diallo. United will even consider a sizable offer for skipper Bruno Fernandes, although he is expected to stay and sign a new deal. But this is when it comes to the outgoings. 7 players United want to offload are Casemiro, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Christian Eriksen, Anthony, Jadon Sancho, and Mason Greenwood, with the dream scenario for United being able to sell all of them to raise in the region of £200 million, giving them a transfer spend of £250 million, including the original £50 million budget. Now, if that original £50 million budget is accurate, Flex, that would mean we're only going to sign Matthijs de Ligt this summer, because we're going to probably sign him for £50 million. So I don't know how accurate that budget is, but 7 players there. I mean, I'm not going to say out of all of them, how many of them do you think will go? But I suppose in the spirit of the article, David McDonald's sort of suggesting there actually maybe more can be done with exits now that Dan Ashworth is in comparison to if he was not actually coming in this summer.
Yeah, and this is probably, I'll be honest, this is probably where, for me, I'm more like you're in situ now, you're in post, go work. Let's see what you can do. My expectations are measured, but they're fairly high though. They're not unrealistic. Like, I'm not saying if he doesn't sell 200 million worth of players, his first window's been a disgrace. He's supposed to come in and fix. Why is this? I'm not doing that. However, he's got to get to work, and not just him though. When you read the article yesterday from Laurie Whitwell, which is again and Adam Critchley, isn't it?
Mark Critchley.
Mark Critchley. Really good. Like, it's so detailed, and it shows you again, it isn't like Ashworth is the missing piece, but he's the missing piece to the whole puzzle. The whole puzzle is the thing that works for it all. And as you can, when you read it, and even when we did the due diligence with Keith Downey and speaking to people at Newcastle, like, Dan Ashworth isn't like the leader with the iron fist, the ruler of everything, and he just makes all the decisions and it's all on him. It's not. We have to get that out of our heads. Like, we really, like how we misprofile players, we can't misprofile people at the boardroom level and be like, well, it's all on him. He's in charge of every single sale all by himself and every single incoming. It's not the case. It really, really isn't the case. So he's got to get to work with the group of people that are there. And I've got good expectations, fairly high expectations, but realistic expectations. So I'm now more in the camp of sit back now and let them work. I'm not going to be like, when each day goes past, oh, he hasn't done this, we still haven't. Let them work, and I'm going to judge it at the end of the window when I can make an accurate decision as to how it's gone outgoing-wise, how it's gone incomings, how much money seems to have been raised by player sales, which we will know by a certain time. So, yeah, it's good to not say how many players you think he'll sell. I mean, we could do that for our own sort of jovial. It's just sometimes good to talk about. But there's some that are more nailed on than others, isn't there? Sancho and Greenwood will go.
Yeah.
They will go. I'm almost 100% sure of that. Never say never in football, but I'm almost 100% sure of that. I think Eriksen will go. I think Donny will go.
Yeah.
I think
centre-back is going.
I think depend, and that's really hard to call because you just don't know what's going to arrive at the table.
It's dependent on offers, isn't it? And
exactly. And the player,
right.
Like Harry Maguire could still say, "I don't care if Matthijs de Ligt's here. Victor Lindelof's gone, so I'll tell you what. I reckon Martinez's going to get injured again. You're going to need me. I'm going to play with de Ligt. I'm going to gamble again."
Yeah, you know I mean? It worked last season. You're right in that regard. I mean, I think I think it was in that Athletic article. Dan Ashworth described himself as the sort of center part of a wheel, and all of these different spokes come in together. And basically, he's meant to be, all of these departments meant to come into him. So, like you say, yes, they all report into him, and ultimately the buck lies with him. But it's not solely completely like he's doing absolutely everything. I think the real positive thing is, I think him being in now is maybe ahead of sort of schedule and maybe what Manchester United had anticipated. I mean, they had hoped that he would be in quite quickly towards the end of last season. Then it looked like, oh, okay, Newcastle are stonewalling us. This is going to arbitration. This might drag out a while. You never know whether arbitrator is going to rule. Might be the end of the year, might be the end of the transfer window. We don't know. So for myself, and I don't know if Manchester United feel this way, but this is earlier than I thought Dan Ashworth was going to be in, which I think is a real positive for Manchester United. Now, does that mean, like you say, we're going to do all of the outgoings that people want, we have to realize that, you know, I mean, ask Andrew Tate if we live in the Matrix, but this is the real world. Yeah, this is not FIFA or Fever or anything like that.
Fever.
We can't just get rid of everyone in one window. Life works a bit. It's a bit more difficult. It's just not going to happen. Now we can and will get rid of quite a few. I think you mentioned Sancho and Greenwood. They look pretty nailed on. Then those sort of more peripheral players you mentioned, like Donny and maybe Eriksen, perhaps. Like, I think it's going to be Lindelof or Maguire. I probably lean towards more likely it being Lindelof than Harry Maguire, really. But look,
I don't know what's going to happen with Wan-Bissaka, but that'll be a like for like if he does go, because you'd have to replace him instantly. So it's not really helping.
Exactly. And then, you know, with McTominay, we'll talk about that in a bit. But we saw last season that could fall apart pretty quickly. And we've got to. I bemoan doing the same point over and over and over again over the last few days, but we do have to be realistic. I know that after 10 years of suffering when it comes to chasing for league titles and longer when it comes to the Glazer ownership, we are desperate and we want things just to go back to how they used to be overnight. We're competing for Premier League titles. We're competing for Champions Leagues. It's all great. We can actually speak with chest and mean it. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes when you're talking with your mates, you're talking with ops and you speak your chest, but you sort of in the back of your head, you go, I'm full of shit here because I know we're rubbish, but I've got to say it. You know, you can speak with chest and actually mean it. We all hope we're going to get back to that point, and hopefully we will. But we then also have to realize you cannot overturn, you know, being a decade behind and a lot of this stuff in one transfer window. It is just not possible. Now you can put in significant work into bridging the gap. I think we have, certainly when it comes to the structural point of view, we've literally, the entire sporting side of Manchester United has been completely revamped in the space of 6 months. That is pretty miraculous with all of the situation there. But on the pitch, you know, off the pitch is almost easier to do than on the pitch, because then every transfer is a gamble. You never know how it's going to work out. You might sign the player and they might, you know, break their leg in their first game, push you back, or whatever it may be. Stuff can happen. So that's not going to happen immediately. But hopefully, now that these people are in and the entire sporting structure is there or near enough there, we can actually, you know, do some proper work this summer. And like you say, when it comes to the outgoings, I would like to see at least one outgoing this summer that you go, in the past, United wouldn't have done that. Yeah, I think that's the sort of place we want to get to. A couple of with these sort of sporting hires, you know, with a couple of them, we go, a couple of years ago, United would have never done that. That's pretty good. That's a good direction. I think fans might need that in terms of a player outgoing as well, going, I'll tell you what, that's pretty good going. That's not bad.
Yeah.
We need something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think we haven't got there yet with the player sales because that bit's taking a little while longer. But in terms of the incomings, it does say when how we're moving with some of the deals. When you look at the Braithwaite situation, it's like they're refusing already. They're saying, no, we're not doing that. We'll give you 35 million plus add-ons. We might go back and with another bid that might be able to raise it to 50 all in. If not, we're out. Then there's reports that even Braithwaite's getting annoyed. You know, so we're not doing it. Like, we'll go and get Delit. We'll go and get someone else who actually is more experienced than him, and a lot lower cost. Do you know what I mean? A lot lower cost. So I have seen
that Delit one, Flex. Yeah, if we do pull it off, and I know already there's the worries, because I don't know if you saw yesterday, he was training separately from the Netherlands squad.
Oh, the comments.
Kind of a feeling a bit of discomfort. This is why we shouldn't be buying him.
Owen, we're not allowed to do anything.
Well, and to that point, so as people were just talking about, Newcastle 18 minutes ago have announced the appointment of Paul Mitchell as a new sporting director, and immediately Dan Ashworth, shit, we should have got Paul Mitchell
straight away.
We turn so quick, don't we?
Newcastle fans are in this chat, and I've seen them under the post because I looked under the Newcastle United post. Yeah, way better than Dan Ashworth anyway. Good, we've upgraded, and look. Listen, in terms of reputation,
time will tell what happens with it.
Paul Mitchell's a fantastic appointment. I'm not going to sit here and say, he's nothing. Good appointment. You got the man you wanted. We got the man we wanted. And now time will tell. Let them both work in their respective, situations. Let's not turn on our guy. We fought tooth and nail to get our guy. Just let him work. Just don't listen to any noise, man. Arsenal are trying to put a package together for that Calafiori from Bologna. That's what they're doing. Just do our own shit. And this is our problem. We keep worrying about what everyone else is doing. And yes, like I said, you always have to have an eye on your rivals because that's who you're trying to compete with. I get that. But I said also, this is also a little bit of an anomaly of a situation because it's like, for this time, we actually just need to focus on ourselves and get our own shit right. We have been a mess. We've only just got a footballing structure. Like, just ignore all the outside noise. You're going to get pressure from rival fans. Oh my God. In TalkSport building yesterday, I had to just become so tribal. And you know what? It was exactly what KG was saying in the morning when I pushed back a little bit because I was like, well, our own fans, it's more of a loud minority that are like cussing some of our players. But I did agree that outside of that, what I've remembered again, especially now Man United are trying to make moves, we're just so hated. We can't do anything.
And you can't
there was
buy
a post.
into it. That's the key thing.
Good Vibes John. I made sure I reposted John. Big up to Good Vibes John, doing such good work. All he did was do a video for our community, for Man United fans, to explain kind of who's who and where they lay. That's it. As a Man United fan, he's entitled to do that. He's helping other Man United fans get a visual sort of indication as to who lies where in the hierarchy.
Organogram.
Exactly. Right? Oh, it gets reposted on the blog site. Shout out the guys at 360 as well. My guys. Gets reposted saying this guy's saying comments. Oh, look at these United fans making formations for the backroom stuff. Oh, these lot are funny. Honestly, mate, these lot are so funny. Oh, look at them. And I just put a comment. I said, I love how hated we are. Man United are clueless and have no structure. What the hell are they doing? Man United proceed to go and get structure. Now, Man United fans are so dumb. They're so stupid. Gassed because they got structure. We're not allowed to do anything. We just can't do, we just have to sit here. We just have to sit here, keep losing, keep getting licks every. We weren't even allowed to win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
City are, but you can't.
The ideal thing is we've got to be down on the floor, keep getting kicked. And then when we get back up, they go, don't get back up. What are you doing? Don't get back up. Don't fight back. Don't get fight back. And I suppose
it's
right.
so funny. You just have to laugh. And that's why we have to just focus on ourselves, guys.
Exactly.
Don't listen to the noise.
And the key thing is, and maybe this is what's happened over, the last decade, is that noise, because it has become closer to reality, we start to buy into it. And we don't really know the difference between what's just hate and what's just, is that real? Is that true? Maybe that is kind of right. And this is sort of the wider point we've been saying for the last couple of weeks, isn't it? Is that Sirens in the chat? That's they're back. That again, this is the point. We're going from nothing. We're going from nothing. You know what I mean? When it comes to sporting stuff. So again, we've got to go back. Tell you what, the sounds are really going in the chat, aren't they?
Tell you what, the horns are going off.
Save me, Flex. Save me, Flex.
They say, get out of the way. Big, come on, get out of the way.
But the point is, we're going from nothing. So again, of course, we're going to be happy with that. Of course we are. And again, don't misinterpret that's really good as we're going to win everything again, mate. That's this season. This season's no, it's just, this is good news for us. This is positive.
Oh, and yesterday, right, I was with Ollie Klink. Shout out to my guy, Ollie Klink. Every time I walk through the doors at TalkSport, right, and get ready for my show, they're just on, so I get in. Ollie's he supports Newcastle. It was so funny, right, because I had this realization. He was like, Dan Ashworth is honestly, his legacy at Newcastle is he just didn't vet Tonali. He hasn't done, and he's saying all this, and he's just and he's going, honestly, Man United, this is what he said. He goes, honestly, Man United are just so I just don't understand how you watch it. It's so bad. And I swear to you, it was exactly what, shout out KG, I hope he's watching. It was the bit he was talking about yesterday, because he goes, I'm fed up of agreeing with other people's assessment. You go, I know, man, we're just so bad.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
So
you can't tell the difference anymore.
Yeah. So Owen, so for 10 seconds, I said, I know, man. I know we've just been so bad. He goes, you're just not a good football team. I just can't remember when Man United were good. It's just crazy. How do you watch it? How do you watch that every week? And then this light bulb just flicked, and I went, so I'm gonna swear, trigger warning. I said, fuck you. You're a fucking Newcastle fan. I said, hang on a minute. You're just fucking going to games in the Championship. You had no shirt on in December because Mike Ashley was there every year. You had Steve Bruce, mate. How have you watched? We beat you 2-0 in your cup final. Cup Carabao. You got no Europe, mate. We took it. You're Newcastle. What? You don't get to talk to me. And I said, how have you watched what you've watched? So, you haven't won a trophy since you've been born, mate. You're 20, you're 25 or whatever. How you can't talk to me like this? And then I was like, you was going to be called Sports Director Arena, mate. You just got saved. Who are you talking to?
Even last season, you got your captain, Kieran Trippier, arguing with away fans in the crowd. So don't have a go at us about, the away fans. Yeah, they were helped out with when we lost 4-0 to Crystal Palace. Like, this is what I mean. I think for so long, we have just been that laying dog on the ground getting kicked or whatever. And now eventually, now it's a bit like, and again, it's not because...
Yeah, we've got to fight back. KG's right on that. He's right.
And it's not just because, again, we're going to win the league. It's just like, actually, no, there are good things happening at Manchester United. There are, and it's just... Again, this summer transfer window, I still wouldn't be like, judge Manchester United's future on this summer window. That is just it. No, there's going to be teething pains here, obviously.
Owen, sorry. And then the conversation went on to, yeah, I mean, if you start next year and, the first sort of few games, you're just exactly the same. He's just a bit, it's just like, so now we're not allowed any, we've changed everything. And now we have to be as good as Arsenal, straight away. Because if we're not within the first 5 to 10 games, well, they kept 10 off for no reason. Now we're not allowed any time. And I'm like, you don't get to put this is what they're on. So this is where KG's right. The hounds are just out. They're waiting for us to make all these changes and then for it to just be like us be the same or worse so that everyone can laugh because everybody wants us to make these changes and it not work. So yeah, we just got to focus on ourselves. Sorry, rant over.
No, I think, like I said, I think you're right with that, and just maybe again, it's a positive sign that things are actually changing and moving in the right direction. Just very quickly as well before we do move on. Obviously, there was a story yesterday about the redundancies at Manchester United. I think cutting, was it a quarter of the employee staff? I think it was, which was a voluntary redundancy basis. It's 250. It's part of the restructuring and cost saving from Ineos when they come in. And I mean, a couple of things on that. I saw a lot of mixed opinions on it. And first of all, I think the top line thing is to say, first of all, redundancies are shit. If you've ever experienced it, if you've, losing your job like that and then worrying, if you do live paycheck to paycheck or you're worrying about your house or your family or whatever, that it's shit. It's horrible.
Really stressful time.
And obviously, the thoughts go out to those people that have been affected by that. Part of it is entirely inevitable. Whenever there are mergers or acquisitions or buy into companies, the first thing that happens is cost cutting. It's just always the way. And then also another part of it is Manchester United do have the biggest workforce out of any club in the Premier League. And if Ineos have come in, they've clearly looked at it and gone, well, for a lot of things, again, it goes back to the sort of legacy of the Glazer ownership at Manchester United, which is the club has been horribly managed. And there is a bloated workforce, and Ineos have looked at it and said, we're overspending in these things. We think we can cut back on these and be run more efficiently and put more money back into the club in these sort of parts of it, which again has led to redundancies as well, which again is really, really unfortunate. But again, it's just part of the sweeping change at Manchester United, really, isn't it? It's part of the sweeping change, and it's part of the attempt to actually have this club and this business run way more appropriately. They sort of said previously, I saw in the articles that were written about it, I think one was from The Athletic again yesterday, saying, I think it was Adam Crafton, saying that a lot of people had said, looking at Manchester United under Ed Woodward's stewardship, which has allowed this, this workforce to get so bloated, is because it's primarily focused on sort of commercial. It's all been about making money, all a bit about commercial growth. And Ineos have come in and scaled back on that because they believe commercial growth will be boosted by sporting growth. Essentially, that's their viewpoint on it. But look, whenever it comes to anyone losing their jobs, it's really, really unfortunate. So it sucks in that regard, but it's just part of the ongoing change, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, I just saw the professor says there, I'm one if 300 on a redundancy list. I'll find out in 40 days' time after the consultation period ends, because he said he's going through it now as well. I've seen a lot of people that I know family members and friends that have gone through redundancy. It's not easy. It's not. It isn't easy. And what you have to remember is because it can like cut your confidence. So you think like, oh, I'm not worthy. So like your confidence of going to get another job, you think, oh, it knocks you back a little bit. Most of the time, redundancy is not usually a reflection upon yourself and how good you are at your job. A lot of the time, it's because, like you said, it's down to budgeting or lack of, or new ideas coming in and people want to reform. All the things what Owen just said is don't let it be a reflection of just you. And unfortunately, it's one of the downsides that's part and parcel in the world of work, I suppose, isn't it? Redundancy, especially at big corporations, big companies of 1,000-strong workloads and tens of thousands of work, people who work remote, or there's branches in different countries, and all of a sudden they can go, right, we're taking out the whole of the Europe, we don't need it, or that it just happens. So on a personal, anyone who's going through that, like someone just said there, don't let it blight you. And back to the Man United terms, it's like, yeah, it's never nice to read that people are going to lose their jobs, but I think it was expected that Man United were going to make some form of cuts to somewhat run more efficiently as well. On a personal as well, and anybody who is affected, anybody's out there in the Caribbean, especially Jamaica and Grenada as well, because I know Grenada had the hurricane first. If you've got loved ones out there or you're out there, thoughts and blessings sent to you. I've contacted my grandparents. They're out there in Ochi. They're okay at the minute. So, that's good on a personal for me, but I know everybody's not that fortunate. So anyone who's out there in the Caribbean, who's got family out there in the Caribbean, just praying that Hurricane Beryl just kind of swerves where it needs to swerve and goes towards the sea, man. But it has gone through some parts of the Caribbean. It's not been great. I said my family's managed to be okay so far, fingers crossed. I'm going to check in with them. I mean, right now it's going to be super early in the morning, ain't going to be up, but I'm going to check in with my grandma later on. But yeah, let's hope that it continues to try and stay away from some of the destruction it's caused already out there in the Caribbean. So yeah, there's thoughts with the people out there, man, for sure, back home. Tabres says, don't forget it's polling day. Vote Flex for PM. Mate, I ain't getting involved in any of that. But if you want to vote for me, vote for me. Omar says, I hope Flex can't see this, but he's lying, Owen.
Yeah, I have heard some rumors.
No. Rumors is all it is, mate. Rumors is all it is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Janae says, bless up UV family. We forgive, but keep the same energy when we start winning. And Janae's been a member for 20 months as well, so big up to you. Aminor says, Owen, Marcel chose violence yesterday on Mandem Talk.
Oh, hey, that's Marcel. That's Marcel. I haven't seen that either, but I'm sure. That.
Ryan says, have you seen the Rashford Eric Ten Hag story an hour ago?
It's funny, isn't it? I tell you what, though, before we check whether or not it's accurate, I mean, what Ryan is referring to, there's a story from Neil Custis from The Sun. It's an exclusive from him saying that, Rashford, big fallout of Eric Ten Hag, so he's going to be leaving, £60 million. I suggest that we probably consult our Qatari owners. And whilst we do that, we'll walk past David De Gea, who's back at Carrington training, because that's some of the track record that Neil Custis has had over the past 12 months. Like it's become more often.
His ones are mental.
In terms of a hit record, I mean, the batting average is close to 0 in the last 12 months. It is. I mean, Qatar by October. And then David De Gea's coming back. Oh, yeah, of course, there was the shirts that everyone was going to be wearing saying goodbye to Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Wan-Bissaka, that was it, yeah. I don't know how we get bro, we may as well just, honestly, I'm just going to start using my account to just say mad stuff.
Might as well.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Because you're obviously allowed to do it. He's in the media, been in the media for time. I'm not going to say well respected, but he's been going for a got cussed out by Sir Alex infamously years ago. He's been part of this whole media landscape for a long time, and you just get to just say stuff.
Do you think he walks in to the press conferences and the other journalists look to him and are where did you get that from?
I think it's just I just think it's it's just Neil. I think it's that now. Because when he's in there,
what do you think? Weird. They look at him. They look at him, then
what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was so rattled that day. why did I do that again? Oh yeah, I was trying to explain what
You
was
get
going
heckled.
on.
You're getting heckled.
And this guy was just like, yeah, what about injuries? Yeah, but the injury, mate, shut up.
It was like, I
Anyway,
think it was like a minute into, you're like, so-and-so, I can't remember the result, but, so-and-so
yeah.
won, Manchester United won. What about the injuries? I've just started. Just started. It's literally
Yeah,
been
and I
2
was
seconds.
talking about, I think I was talking about one player. I was just
It's
working
been
my
2
way through,
seconds.
and he was just on some staunch Ten Hag thing. Oh, mate, honestly, the world's just a crazy place. But yeah, but I can explain to you guys, right? Because I've been around Newcastle in the presses and just when before the presser and after the presser when they're all typing up the notes and they're all getting the quotes off each other. Because if you don't realize, like all of these journals, they're all mates. Like they might
Part
not
of the
all
pool.
like each other,
Part of the pool,
but
aren't they?
like so I'm not saying they all like really like each other, but like they go on their drinks together, they have media day together, they get to play on the pitch. We get left out, but it's like a little thing, and a lot of them are like so sound. Honestly, like most of them are, nearly all of them are. And even Neil, like he'll say, "Oh, you're right, mate. Oh, you're right." But then you're right. I think there's just this acceptance that like he's just old school. He's just Neil's written something again. Like I don't think
Old school. It's made up.
Draconian,
Yeah.
made up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were we? Aminor says, what marginal gains will Man United get from staff cuts? Well, we'll wait and see, won't we? We'll wait and see. And Sabucio says, hated, adored, never ignored. We're on the march with Ten Hag's army. We definitely are. We are also on the march with nearly 2,000 viewers and just under 600 likes. Guys, let's push to 1K. 76% of you have said you have liked the video. 24% of you have said doing it now. Like we did pause the video yesterday. Joe Blackman was on it as always, saying show some love. It was a out the blue live Flex and KG show / transfer view. We needed 1K likes, which we got to just as we were leaving the show. There's no reason why we can't do it today. We've got exactly the same numbers as we did yesterday. The morning show is the morning show. It must be respected. Yes, it must be respected.
Yes.
So get liking while we get onto the next story, which is about Mason Greenwood's exit being closer.
Yes, indeed it is. It looks like there might be a couple of clubs in the race for Mason Greenwood. Starting off with Lazio. Now, Alfredo Padula is saying that Lazio are actively trying to complete a deal with Manchester United for Mason Greenwood, who has agreed to join them. Lazio are willing to offer £22 million with a sell-on clause between 40 to 50%. And they believe this offer will be enough as United have lowered their demand. So it looked like Lazio were in pole position, but maybe not, Flex, because Gianluca Di Marzio, yes, remember him, said that Marseille have offered more than Lazio for Mason Greenwood in the last few hours. He also said Marseille have submitted an offer to Manchester United, which is higher than Lazio's, which was 20 million euros, and are now very confident about completing the signing of Greenwood. So you've got two people saying two kind of contrasting things, but almost kind of the same in that regard. They're sort of saying, well, Lazio were in for him, are in for him. They've offered this amount, but it's maybe lower than Man United had initially anticipated getting. And now you've got Marseille have come in with a higher offer, and now it looks like Marseille are more likely to win that race to get him. I mean, we mentioned this earlier on, didn't we? About he's one of the names that's most likely, definitely going to be sold this summer. The price might be a sticking point. I think that Dylan from United District spoke about it quite well the other day on the Full View, sort of saying that there's obviously a lot of complications with this deal, mainly because about, the club sort of going, well, £40 million, but there's obviously quite a lot of baggage there, blah, blah, blah. So, and also from Manchester United's perspective they still want to get the best deal for them in terms of the future. He is still a young guy. So you wouldn't think that, say he does go to Marseille, he's probably not going to play at Marseille for the whole of his career. He might end up going elsewhere. He might get sold for even more. Can Manchester United make sure that they can reap the rewards of that, be smarter with the transfer deals too?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it. But at the moment, Flex, it looks like he's on his way to Marseille.
Yeah, and I saw something about a sort of 40 to 50% sell-on clause as well.
Well, the Lazio one, yeah.
Which is massive. If they're going to look to insert some form of significant sell-on clause. So if he goes and gets sold for the best part of 50 odd million next time, maybe, or 60 million,
yeah,
we could end up with 25 to 30 million just coming through the door from doing some good work now. Considering the shit situation that it was and has been this whole time, and it's a real shame what's happened. But it was interesting about sort of Man United's demands maybe getting a little bit less though, because you're seeing like some deals for like 25 million euros, probably some add-ons and a sell-on clause. Like we kind of had our figure of this 40, and obviously we know with especially clubs in Italy and some in Spain, like
definitely in
France.
Definitely in France. I mean,
definitely in France. It's not on their thing to be spending 40, 50, 60 million pounds on players. So maybe we've had to obviously curve that, but you want some significant add-ons, and then obviously, like say, sell-on clauses as well. So I don't think we are going to get 40 million for him.
Maybe it's a total. Maybe it's a total package of sort of 40 million sort of thing, where it's like, let's say. I mean, they were saying that Lazio offer was 20 million euros. I mean, that's when you're talking like probably like 80 million quid, maybe a bit less than that. I mean, that's nowhere near, is it? Maybe the Marseille one they sends a bit higher. Let's say maybe it is sort of 25 million pounds, 30 million pounds, or something like that. Then you can get into, well, if he scores this amount of goals, boom. If he plays this amount of games, boom. Like you said, all right, then, if you're not going to give us 40 million pounds up front, at least put a 50% sell-on clause onto it, so that
that's a lot to commit to. Like if you're buying a player who you know's got good ability, and then you want to develop him and then cash in, and you already know that 40 to 50% of that revenue's gone to the person you bought him from.
I saw,
but it's a way of stretching your payments out if you can't afford it, though.
It might be the Calafiori deal, or there's another one of a name that is being linked with some clubs this summer, and they've got a 50% clause onto them for any offer. A
lot of money, man.
And actually, it does complicate things because rightfully so, the club that is selling him goes, well, whatever money you're giving us, we're only getting half of it. So you've actually got to pay us more.
You got to make it. It's like a loan.
Because we want to get. If you're going to come in for like 40 million, well, 20 million is going to this club. So actually, you're going to have to give us more than that because we want to get closer to that. We want to get 40 million plus what they're going to get as well. So it makes it a little bit more expensive. But look, Manchester United still have to look after their best interests in that regard and get the best offer and deal for themselves. Like you said, the situation is really unfortunate and it's a really tricky one. But also Manchester United, we've earmarked Mason Greenwood as one of the biggest sort of fundraising sales this summer. We spoke about it earlier on, the £200 million. We spoke about how the budget may or may not be hamstrung by PSR. Who knows at this point? It feels like it's guesswork every other day. But we're talking about player sales. We still want to get the best deal possible for us, don't we? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But critically, I suppose, with the Greenwood one, it doesn't appear that there's a lack of sort of suitors. It does appear that there are people that are willing to spend the money. But like you said, our market here in the Premier League is way more inflated than it is across Europe. I mean, France in particular, because of the sort of collapse of the French football television deal, like a lot of clubs are really suffering when it comes to that. But Marseille, look, they're trying to bridge a bit of a gap. De Zerbi's there now as the new head coach, so maybe they do mean business this summer.
Yeah. It's gonna take a while, but we just got to get the best deal for ourselves. So but already that 40 million we're trying to count towards, the 200 million. Already is sort of dropping to like 25, 30 million plus some add-ons and stuff like that. So it isn't and this already proves it's not just like fever. Like it's not just sell that player, no fever. Not just sell that player, right? There's 40 million, boom, we'll put that in the kitty. Sancho gone, 40 million, boom, right? We've raised 80 million already, straight away, just off 2 sales. It just isn't like that. It just isn't like that, especially with these 2 players. Because Sancho's the next one, really. It's like, did his stock rise high enough for us to command a massive fee? Probably not, but enough for it that he's back in the shop window. It helped that Dortmund got to the final of the Champions League, etc., etc. And clearly he still wants to leave, and Dortmund still want him, and but they changed manager, and money. They ain't gonna have 40 million. They ain't gonna have it, which is ironic. The whole time that they made us pay what the asking price was, and you pay this or you don't get him, and now it's back to them. They're like, just do another loan with obligation or something. Can you help us out a little bit? No, we flipping can't. We need our money. You want him. You're posting up family, and we always knew. We got you once a yellow, whatever. I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah, you said once a yellow submarine, always a yellow submarine. I don't know, but whatever it was, you posted up doing the whole family and friends vibes. Cool. Then cough up the money for your family and friends. It's as simple as that. I don't know, but the types of places these players want to go, because the Premier League doesn't seem to be, well, not for Mason Greenwood, but someone from the Prem. I don't know. I don't think Sancho's going to go. It seems more like it's going to have to be in Italy, Germany, and those places. The money's not great.
I don't know. With the Sancho one, it's weird, isn't it? It's like it does have the feeling that one could open up quite a bit, doesn't it? You know, because it feels more and more likely. Well, it feels more and more likely that again, the Dortmund one probably isn't going to happen. They're not going to spend that much money, and as the time ticks down, it will be interesting to see if there are clubs in the Premier League that are like, you know, actually, you know, he's available. Because 40 million, this is what's wild about the difference between the Premier League and Europe. 40 million pound to a Premier League team is almost a bit of a steal, isn't it? 40 million pound to a team across the, you know, European continent, it's a big investment. Got to be a bit careful.
It's massive money,
with that one, that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that one could open up a little bit. I think
is João Felix back at Atletico Madrid, because that was a loan.
Felix, yes, yes. Him and Cancelo both gone back to their parent clubs, so it's loans now.
Would you if just hear me out? If Atletico came to us and said, "Do you want João Felix?" and we take Sancho, would people say no?
I probably wouldn't say no to that one. Well, the question is, though, do we need the cash more actually to go into other positions? That would be the other thing I'd be looking at, actually. You know what I mean? I'd be looking at going, because do we need like for like? Basically, if we're getting rid of Sancho, we're not putting that money into getting a replacement on the pitch wherever he is, are we? We're looking at that money more for, we're looking midfielder, we're looking at striker, that kind of thing, aren't we?
But he could play, but he can, because say we're getting like Joshua Zirkzee or whatever, but João Felix is that player who's like, he can play across the front. Like he can.
What, so we don't get Joshua Zirkzee?
No, say we did, because we're just going to buy a striker anyway, like an actual 9. But like, João Felix is like someone who can play on the left, he can play in the 10, he can play up front.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
he's useful across the front line.
I'm not. Obviously, look, João Felix. You know, when he came to the Premier League with Chelsea, he was in that shit Chelsea. So I don't think that's the best to judge him in that team. But I would just weigh up: do we need the money more than we need the player in that situation?
So when Sancho gets sold, do we need another right winger?
No, that's what I mean. No, we don't.
We don't, because
we need the money more. We need the money more.
Yeah,
for
so
other
you can
positions.
go spend it somewhere else
on a new guy. Imagine it was like, right, we can't afford Ugarte because we don't have the money, but in the swap deal we got João Felix instead. And that is old school. That's Man United over the last decade, isn't it?
Yeah,
we got the shirt Salah and we got this attacking player, and it's great. How is he going to fit into the team? We'll find a way. We'll find a way of getting him in the team, but we still need that sort of midfielder that's going to win the ball. Oh, and the striker, we did kind of get that one in the end. You know, I would have a bit of reservations
last year
about
for Barca. He's a mainstay in the team.
It's not injury prone. Tick. Not injury
prone. Played 44 games, scored 10, assisted 6.
I feel like United would if I'm selling Jadon Sancho, I would like the money. I would like the money to be invested into another position, not a like for like.
Yeah, I'm just thinking quality-wise, I like him. And he has had this sort of rough ride of, again, kind of like a De Ligt, really, where he got bought from...
what his wages as well? I think his wages are really
from Benfica for like 120 million at that time to go to Atletico. You think, this kid's good. Like, and then he goes to Atletico. He does well, but you think it's going to be better. Then he has this in-between period. He going to Chelsea for a bit, Barca for a bit. Then they've let him go. He will probably be on big wages, though. He will be, yeah. But I don't know. I like him, man. I think he's a good player. I do think he's a good player.
Oh, I think he's a good player. It's not the sense I wouldn't have him because I don't think he's good or anything like that. It's more just a case of
what we need.
What do Man United need, and would it prevent us from getting something that we need in the set? But we got João Felix. Look, again, João Felix come to United. There'll be a lot of fanfare. A lot of people on social media will be excited. It'd sell a lot of shirts, you know. And you could already see the commercial heads going, "Oh, this would be great. This would be great."
Yeah.
But is it what Man United really need? Is that what they really actually genuinely need?
What if they didn't get him and didn't get Zirkzee and got him? as the other striker.
Yeah, but he's not really a striker, is he?
Not
I
number
know he,
9.
I know he is. He could play there.
Could play off
not,
there. Can.
but he's not really a striker.
Mm.
And we would be having, I guarantee you, Fleck, we would be having the conversation at some point in the season when either Højlund's injured or is out of form and João Felix up front going, we didn't really get a striker though, did we? In the summer, we still kind of need.
So he's more. That's what I'm saying, because he's a he could play on the left. He plays just off the striker. Can play in a 10. Can play up front. He can just do a bit of everything. He's like a ball, isn't it? Yeah.
I'd be like more. Okay. No, we need the money. We need the cash. Reinvest it, and also it would feel like one that maybe Man United weren't really looking at, but they got again. It's old school Manchester United over the last 10 years in the sense of we weren't really initially look at him. We got presented with it. We went, oh, that's a good one. That'd be interesting for us, wouldn't it? And then, do you really need it? No. Like, we need to be going for the targets that we've identified, the positions we've identified, and get what we need at the moment. That's what Man United need to do.
Yeah. Well, this year, João Felix has predominantly played on the left. He's played 33 times on the left. He played 6 times in the 10, and 3 times as an actual striker and once as an attacking midfielder. So, yeah, but his main, in terms of how they've been using him at Barca this year, is predominantly as a left winger. But at Chelsea, he was playing just off the front. I remember in that season, but that was a dreadful season for Chelsea anyway. Okay, well, I just thought I'd pose the question. Where are we at? We're at 798 likes, nearly 800, which is actually pretty good, very good. We just hit 800 now. 200 more to go to get 1,000. I tell you what, that's easy. That's easy. We will be getting 1,000. 200 to go. 200 likes. Smash the like on that video. On this video, and make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't subscribed as well. Moving on then, Scott McTominay.
Yes, just before actually we get to Scott McTominay, it is the 4th of July. So if anyone's in the United States or American around the world celebrating the 4th of July, happy 4th of July to those that are celebrating today as well. Indeed, I'm sure they have fireworks, barbecues, all that fun stuff. Indeed, so happy 4th of July. McTominay, yes, this is a name that many people would like to see, or some would like to see, leave this summer. And this comes from this, Manchester World, that publication, Rich Fay from the Manchester Evening News. He now works there. This comes from Michael Plant, Manchester World, who is saying that Fulham are leading the race to sign Scott McTominay and are expected to lodge a bid later this summer. Southampton, Newcastle and West Ham are also interested in the midfielder. I suppose probably Flex, Fulham are leading the race because they're going to be losing Palhinha. We got a here we go. Was it yesterday? Of him going to Bayern Munich. That is happening. I think, 45 million?
Which they would have known for a long time as well. So they would have been planning.
So they would have been planning. They would have been looking at midfielders they're going to be bringing in. Now, I'm not saying that Scott McTominay is Palhinha Flex. It's basically the same player, just as good. No, but they're in the market for a midfielder, aren't they? They're in the market for a midfielder. They've got money to spend. We have a midfielder that is on the market in the sense of, I don't think he's actively being shopped around, but a bit like last summer, if the right bid came in, and last summer, the sort of quote wasn't it, that it was around, about 40 million quid, something around that sort of place. And I don't think, to be honest, with the season he's had, he's done that number any issues, actually.
No, he hasn't. He's gone up a little bit, mate.
He's probably still around that figure, and Fulham might have the money to spend. I think there could be something in this story. I do.
Yeah, he's got a year left on his current deal, but we have got an option to trigger in a further year. So essentially which you probably will, especially if, but I don't know, do we just do that now in this summer to say he's basically got 2 years? I don't know, they probably won't.
Probably not. I think they
would just say it's inclusive of, look, he's actually got 2 years left.
If Fulham came in, you go, look, it's got 2 years left. It's not a year, it's 2 years left. Sort of
his stock, like you said, ironically, hasn't fallen this year. If anything, like I said, this year's been one of his best seasons because Erik ten Hag found a spot for him. He found a role for him in the team. What we had before Erik ten Hag got here was obviously the McTominay Fred pivot, building up play. You are our centre midfielder. You are our 6. That just we could see for a long, long time. Don't have to ask us fans about it. We know. I don't need to bore you guys with going into why he wasn't suited to that role. And what was one of the first things Erik ten Hag did? As soon as he came in, he broke up that midfield pivot of McFred, the infamous McFred. He broke it up. They were both on the bench. If not, Fred was getting a few more starts alongside Eriksen, Bruno, and Casemiro. It wasn't it, in his first in his first season, and McTominay was just always been the substitute man. And then he started bringing him on basically up front and saying, "Listen, your knack is getting the goals." And look, he scored 10 goals last year in all competitions, played 43 times as well, 3 assists, and some of the goals he scored. Let's not get it twisted. I know we had a shit league campaign, so there's nothing to write home about, but it would have been even worse if you took away his bloody 7 goals in the Premier League, because he won us about nine points, I think, single-handedly.
Yeah, they weren't goals that didn't matter, put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So you think 8's bad, mate, take away the 7 that Scott McTominay scored in the league, mate, we could have been 12 quite easily. But yeah, I think if you're a Fulham fan, he's nothing like Paulinho.
No.
Like if a Fulham fan asks for our opinion, we'll go, okay, well, you're losing Paulinho, one of the best sixes
ball winning
in the game. Yeah. That's just not Scott McTominay. But if you find the right balance for him in the team, he's played with Pereira before. You know, they had a good little relationship. Tell you what, you know, Manchester lads through Brazil, but Manchester lads. But he could do a job. He could do a job at a lot of Premier League teams. He can, if you use him in the right way. But again, for us, I think we just want to get some money in it. We want to move him on, I think. We can do. That's the sort of place I could see him going to, really. It makes sense. A West Ham, Fulham.
Yeah, he'd do well there.
Maybe
do well.
Maybe not Palace now because they've got Wharton, so he's wicked. But he's better than Will Hughes. You know, McTominay. He could play next to Wharton if you want.
Well, they might look at it as like, again, because like you said, he's clearly not a Paulinho replacement. But if you were looking in the market for a midfielder, in the sense that we want to get more goals into the team, which Fulham might, they might look at it as, well, actually, if we bring him in and he plays every game of the season, and the instruction is for him once again of just get in the box, arrive at the box at the right time, he'll probably end up getting more goals than he got this season for Manchester United, because he's going to be playing more games. Then you would go up, and for a team like Fulham, sort of bottom half team or whatever, having a midfielder that can score 10, maybe double-digit goals, that's massive. That's really, really vital. So, I think I could see it happening. Maybe, like you said, not as a replacement for Paulinho. Maybe they might sort of look to spread that around a little bit and bring in another sort of defensive midfielder. But if Man United can get an offer that's 40 million quid, close to that, pure profit.
Yeah, I don't know if we get 40.
What would you say? 40? 35?
What did we agree with West Ham? Was it 35 last year?
I think it. What did we ever?
No one actually knows that one.
You know what's so weird about all this West Ham stuff last season is I don't even know if fees were ever agreed.
No,
or whatever,
I think the Maguire one was.
Maguire one, maybe, but I don't know. But they were interested. They were definitely interested, weren't they?
I think minimum 30.
Wait, how old is he again? How old is McTominay?
27. 27. He's 27.
Scott McTominay. So he's 27, right? He's in his peak at the moment. He's in his prime.
30 million tops.
2 years left on his 2 years left on his contract. 1+1. And Fulham got a bit of cash because they're getting that move in. Whatever. Yeah, I think he could get 35 to 40. Why not? Again, he scored goals in the Premier League last season, and also goals in important games last season too.
Well, Conor Gallagher's going to go for 50.
Why? Yeah, 40, no, fuck it. 40 million. 40 million. Why are we going down? This is what we got. When it's Man City selling their players, whatever, and I'm not saying Scott McTominay's, he could play Man City's midfield. I get that, but still, drive a hard bargain.
Yeah, well,
40 million quid.
As we're saying, it's all on Dan Ashworth.
40 million
if
quid.
He doesn't get 40 million for Scott McTominay. I think it'll probably be maybe just shy of that, maybe with some add-ons. But yeah, a package of 40 million. I'm here for it. I hope it happens. We need something significant to happen. He was
arguably. I know Scotland had a bit of a not great European Championship. Who expected them to? He's one of their best players.
Yeah, he always is at Scotland.
Always is.
Yeah, always is.
Why are we driving why are we driving the price down? I'd be like, hey, look what he does for his country. Look what he's done for us in the Premier League. And he scored the winner against Brentford, scored the winner against Aston Villa, scored the winner against probably a little bunch. I can't even remember. I want to block that season out of my mind. But really important goal. Scored against Liverpool in the FA Cup.
Yeah,
40 million
Brentford.
£40 million. Do that. Yeah, 40 million pounds. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, okay. Well, we shall see. But Daniel Ashworth, get to work. The pressure's
Yeah.
on. We are at 902 likes as we finish the show. We can get to 1K. We can get to 1K.
Wow, there's a couple of milestones, Flex, isn't there? First of all, like you said, we are less than 100 likes until 1K. So if you haven't already, click the like button. On top of that, we are, what's that? 71 subscribers away from 170,000. 170K. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe.
That's a crazy number, man.
170K.
So proud. Like, it's just because it's just a rounded, when it's a bit wish-washy, when it's numbers all over the gaff, it doesn't hit as hard as like 170.
It's a zero.
Wow.
You get a zero.
Yeah, I'm just like, that'll be a big milestone for the channel, man. Might cry when that happens. I'm joking, but
we'll record
but yeah. But no, honestly, it would mean so much to all of us here, and everyone who's been involved at the channel since it started. Like, it's just crazy. 170,000. Obviously, like, there's channels out there that have 10 times that much. Like, we're still small, we're still growing, but like, that'll be a big for us. That's just massive. 170K, which is the road to 200. That 200 is the one where I'm like, okay, like, we are a serious channel. Like, obviously, like, I'm not saying we're not serious. I'm not putting us down. We're not serious until we get 200K. Sorry, Owen, I'm not just putting us down. But like, like, 200 is like, no, but 200 just feels like bang, we're 200K strong. Like, do you know what I mean? But 170, like I said, we never skip steps. I always say that in just life. Just don't skip the steps. Put the work in. Organic growth. Don't try and look for something to get you there quicker than you would. Not just be you. Keep growing. Be us. And it's working. So yeah, let's get to 170 first, and then we can work out that 30K extra to get to the 200 after that, and have a party. Maybe or something. Yeah.
Maybe or something.
Maybe a what you call it. There you go.
What do you call it? There you go. There you go.
Oh, and actually, whilst we're waiting, because we are on 930. So whilst we're waiting for some more likes to get to 1,070 odd, right? I want to give a big shout. I don't know if he's watching. To is it Saint MUFC? Because he helped solve my problem yesterday. Well, it wasn't just a problem yesterday. It's been a problem for the last week or so, where my iPhone keeps trying to use, my MacBook keeps trying to use my iPhone bloody microphone. So he messaged me on Twitter. I want to get his name right. Hold on a sec, because that's really rude. Wait there. I want to shout him out properly.
What do you call it?
Wait, there you go. What do you call it? Just scrolling up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait there. What do you call it? There you go. It needs to go. 50 minutes. There you go. Me and Dan. So funny. Where is it? Oh, it'll be in my replies, isn't it? That's what I need to do.
There you go.
There. There you go. What's it called? Wait there. There you go. Replies. Scroll down. There you go. Hold that.
There you go.
Hold that. There you go. Wait a minute. Hold that. And his name is Saint_MUFC. He is a saint because he messaged me saying, flex on your iPhone, go to general, AirPlay and handoff, and deselect continuity camera. That is what was messing me up. That is why it wasn't my fault. All of a sudden, these phones just decide to do something else.
Wow.
You haven't heard of it, And shout out to Saint MUFC.
I've got a story about flex and technology that I'm probably not going to do now. I'm going to save it for Friday on the Trinity.
Oh, and I told them.
What about the camera?
Oh, Owen, I'm back yesterday. I don't hide from my deficiencies. I held up the very wire where I was like,
"Wow,
it's right here."
Well, I'll do it now.
HDMI to HDMI, which I thought HDMI to HDMI. I thought that was HDMI to USB-C, not USB-C. So just USB-A, and it wasn't. there was an empty. This side was just sitting by itself. So,
to explain the story to the audience, what happened was, so obviously Flex was very upset. He was very angry in the morning about the camera. Very much he was this is not, I don't know why, nothing's happened. The whole thing's broken. I don't know why. It's not my fault. It's broken on me. It's broken on me. I got a phone call later on in the day. I even got a bit of an effect for this, Flex. Yeah. So on the phone call, I pick it up. I'm like, "You're right, mate," and you're like,
"Yeah, I've done this interview. Yeah, I've done this interview with Ajax. Yeah, and I did it in the end."
and I go, "That's good. That's good. That's good. They all work out. The camera worked out."
Yeah, camera's fixed. It's fine. It's no problem.
Was it just one of those things you had to like turn it off and on again? It was just like playing better. It was whatever. It was that kind of thing.
Well, not quite. No. I fixed it.
You fixed it. Oh, okay, that's good. You fixed it. How did you fix it then?
Lead went in.
Sorry. What was that?
Yeah, the lead went really. Lead went in the camera.
I mean, the lead went in. So who could that have possibly been? And I'm not even joking. He went,
"Well, I don't. It must have been me. It must have been me." But yeah, it's working now.
Couldn't believe it.
Find solutions, mate. Fault finding. Trace your steps, check all the wires, check the cables, do your
Well,
basics.
you say that, but why
found a solution within 24 hours.
Why did you do that in the morning?
Found a solution within probably 5 hours. I found a solution.
Instead of looking, he just blindly stared at it and swore at it and went, "This thing's rubbish. It's rubbish."
Done updates, restart, everything. And do you know what it was? It wasn't.
I'm not logged into anything now. This is bullshit.
I redone my router, everything, done everything. Guys, we've got 958 likes. Come on, get us to 1K as well as we finish off. And then I just went, right. I'd lost, but I said, right, and I'm unplugging it all and I'm starting to get, something must be wrong here. As soon as I got to the capture card, I went, that goes from out, but this gold wire, this is, where is this going? This is going to nowhere. I was like, so what's the camera plugged into? Went to the camera, just by itself, just wasn't plugged in. Like I said, I had a HDMI to HDMI, which shouldn't be that, should it? It should be the little mini one out the camera into USB, into the capture card. But yeah, it's fault finding, mate. Don't give up. I could have just gave up. I could have said, I'm not looking at this until tomorrow.
You did.
I didn't.
I didn't give up. You did give up.
Giving up means it still wouldn't be fixed now. No, the only reason I gave up in the morning is because the show was on. We had to do the show then.
And also, when it was happening in the morning, I was going to him, I go, "Have you checked everything? Like, check everything?" Yes, I've checked everything. It's not working. And you're like, all right.
I know. Guys, 30 more likes. We got 970. We're just going to literally wait right here because 30 of you are going to like the video. GC says that we have 17 foreign players that are over 21. But with 2 announced to go in the last few days, Hannibal and Palestri, this means we plan to bring in 2. Well, we shall see.
We shall see indeed. Obviously, tomorrow as well, Flex. Euros is back on, which I'm very excited
Massive
about.
day. 5 and 8 p.m. kicker. Oh, my days.
Yeah, we got very excited about. Got to be careful, though, because the weather in Germany, it's been very temperamental, hasn't it? Yeah, I remember one person famously said, that we mustn't forget
forget that it's been raining, so the pitch is quite...
It's been raining?
Yeah.
Why is no one laughing at Dortmund? Because their thing was doing it. See, it happens. It's just prestigious clubs, mate.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's been raining.
It's been raining, so and he's been sick. When he goes, so you have to remember that. Like it's a legit real thing. Like
it's Robbie's part of it. It's been raining.
We mustn't forget that it's been raining, so the pitch is quite...
It's been raining?
Yeah.
Honestly, guys, we are out of here. We are at 990. I believe in you. I believe in you.
I've got that one as well.
There you go.
I've got that one.
We're at 9. Oh.
There you go. I'll tell you what, though. My soundboard's all changed. I don't like
it.
Bloody updates.
Believe.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see Turkis on his watch along as well? Chucking it.
Oh, did well. Did you see him just lose all ability to speak?
Turkish is the most calm person in normal life, yeah. But when he watches Turkey, he's something possessed. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. And at the end, he was like, 3 streams, 3 W's. Anyway, right, we're at 1K likes. Big up to every single one.
We did it.
We did it. Pat yourselves on the back. You lot are the dopest, man. We will see you Well, to be fair, we can see you sooner than we think because there's just so much coming out in terms of news.
You
If there's
never
any
know.
breaking news, we'll be there. Hopefully, we get Here We Go soon from something or
Hopefully.
someone. You know what I mean? Guys, take care. We're out of here. Peace.